Oopsies, hi, it's me, Tony Bomboni, ASMR. Welcome back to another video. So before this begins, if you could just take a quick second to subscribe, that button, that play button below, and hit all notifications so you can get my new content into your email inbox or your subscription notification every single day. I do upload once a day on this YouTube channel, so if you're new, welcome to the Poopsie community. I call you my Poopsies, which is just a fun, cute little name for you guys that I made up long ago, so we've come a long way, right? And if you could check my website, tonybomboni.com, if you happen to just want to book your own service from me. I offer tarot reading, your own personal ASMR videos, Reiki healing, coffee cup readings, and candle wax fortune telling services, which all I do is just send you a unlisted YouTube video link to your email inbox. You do not call me, you do not text me, you do not video chat me. It's all done for your own comfort and convenience, from the comfort of your own home. There's nothing else you need to do. You can book and schedule any day and time, and I'll get the video to you within 24 hours, okay? But for the Reiki healing, you just, you schedule whenever you want, and we'll set that up there for you, okay? That is the only one that needs to be like a specific day and time. But other than that, I still don't video call you for the Reiki. It's still done for your own comfort and convenience. So that's something it's like my frequently asked question is like, oh, do I call you? No, you don't, okay? I just send you the email to your inbox, okay? That's it. Alright, whoopsie. So today's video, I had to ask Mama Bomboni a lot of questions because, most of this stuff I already knew, but there were some like names that I forgot, or like names of holidays or certain foods, and how it's made and stuff like that. But she helped me with this video, and I had to take a lot of notes over the phone because this is a typical life of a Macedonian. So I'm gonna just share a little bit about my culture. Okay, I'm not born in Macedonia. I'm born and raised in Chicago, Illinois, and not just Chicago, literally just like the suburbs. I've kind of been like all my life there, and then before I moved down here to Florida. But I was always raised Macedonian, speaking at home Macedonian. Like, I would go to school English all day, and I'd come home and it'd be a total different culture switch. And that's why a lot of times I didn't really like going to school, because it felt so weird to me. Do you guys experience that when you have like a culture at home and you go to school and you're like, ew, like it's just that kind of that vibe, right? Like you just don't want to be there. You can't relate to a lot of people because it's a different culture, Now, yes, I am still white and like because I'm considered Eastern European. So in America, like majority at the time I was growing up in were of European descent, but it's still like it's kind of different in some ways. I can't even explain. I just didn't really feel that connected to people. So whenever I knew someone who was like, I don't know, like Serbian or something, I would get so excited. I'd be like, oh my god, finally, right? So yeah, there were some differences there for sure. Could you imagine if I was born in Macedonia? Oh my god, I would have like total probably culture shock. But eventually most people do become Americanized, unfortunately, because yeah, like just the culture here is so different. The style, like the way people treat each other, the food they eat, my digestive system could never, like, that cafeteria lunch always made me get a little upset because my mama done raised us with natural foods and natural medicinal, like, like with the herbs and stuff. Like, we were raised like that, okay? I mean, I even came into this earth naturally, okay? Okay, maybe TMI, but you know what? Like, I'm all about that. I don't like any of this fake garbage that is out there nowadays. I could go on and on about that, but regardless, yeah, basically, I'm starting off with is the food that we eat. Okay. So these are just some of the many foods. These are just popular dishes that are made. One is called kravče, and it's basically bean stew, and it's a trademark traditional dish in Macedonia. Okay. There's also another one called Ivar. Sorry, I can't roll my R's well. Ivar. Okay, and Ivar is a pepper spread. Okay, I've shown it in video before. And basically, you can eat it with feta cheese. It's a pepper spread you put over like toast or bread. It's so delicious. Honestly, it's so good. I used to eat it all the time bare until I was told like that's not how it's eaten. Like I would just eat it like with a fork, like just straight up pepper spread. But it's kind of a little chunky. It's not that fine like a sauce or like a applesauce. So I just assumed like, hey, you can eat applesauce like that directly, right? Like you don't have to spread it on anything. So I assume the same for pepper spread. But either way, it typically works well with feta cheese, which feta cheese is a cheese that they often use in different dishes, like for a side piece of food. The next one is pinjur. And it's also kind of like a pepper spread, but not really. It's more roasted peppers with garlic, so it's like rather than mashed finely and roasted long hours like Ivar, which takes forever. Like I remember my family made a ton of Ivar pepper spread in jars and jars to preserve for the winter, and it took them, oh my god, it took them I think days, and it's so much work in the kitchen. Like that's all they would do, like just work in the kitchen making it. Like I don't know how long it took really. It took a long time. But pinjur is like roasted peppers, and yeah, they put garlic in it, so it's kind of spicy sometimes. Most times actually you just make it like flavorful, but it's really strong. I can taste it now just talking about it. Really garlicky. Alright. I don't know how else to explain it. It's just like peppers, but cooked peppers, but a lot of like soaked garlic, and they're just kind of like they create this like mushy sound when you mix it. Like there's also another dish called sarma. And sarma is a rolled cabbage with rice and meat. So basically, if I remember correctly, it's not the pepper stuffing. It's not the pepper dish where you stuff rice and meat in there. That's, I think, a different thing. This is more, well, they use peppers a lot in their dishes, but this is more a cabbage kind of stew dish. I just had it the other day actually, and it often has meat in it, I would say. I don't think it had rice in it the other day, but you could also do that. I guess I was confused. Maybe you could put rice, I don't know. I'm thinking of that pepper dish for some reason. But there's also tarhana ikori. Why are there so many R's in the language? Tarhana ikori. Okay, tarhana ikori. Tarhana is like kind of similar to kori. It's just that the way the kernels are shaped are different. It's like a pasta dough kernel. It's made of flour, eggs, milk, and you mix them, and then you dry them for hours, and then you gather it in a cloth and you scoop it out. So I also witnessed actual, like, I call them like babushkas, like old ladies, grandmas, like legit, some of them maybe even great grandmas, make this on the street, like actual, make it, and like it took them 3 days. Same thing, like all day work, like all day, you know, but it was so good. plastic packages ain't nothing compared to the ones you actually get from like these ladies, I'm telling you. And guess what you put in it? Feta cheese, that's right. And you mix it and it's like this creamy, milky, mushy. It's almost like oatmeal, but it's more a breakfast cereal kind of traditional dish. But it doesn't taste anything of the sort of oatmeal. It's not it's more like a pasta oatmeal, like oatmeal, but replace the little oats with like a little pasta, little tiny pasta pieces. Oh my god, so good. Baklava is another one. A lot of people are now learning more and more about baklava. It's a thin filo dough pastry. It's a culture to eat in many other countries, not just Macedonia, of course, but it's inherited from the Middle East and Turkey, actually. I'm looking down at my notes, that's why my eyes keep verting here. But yeah, it's just like little layered thin pieces of filo dough with, I think walnuts and honey, I think. Or the Greeks, I think, put a lot of sugar and honey in it, I believe. And it's a sweet pastry, and it's kind of stiff, and I've eaten it in videos before. Lokum is another one, and that is a Turkish delight, and you can have it with Turkish coffee. Now I'm going to go into that in a little more detail with the culture, but Macedonia was actually ruled under Turkish Empire for 450 years, so we have a lot of influence. I mean, people even say all the time, I look Turkish, okay, so I won't be surprised, actually, because I do believe in my inheritance that there is a lot of Turkish in me, okay, if I'm not mistaken. But it's called lokum, okay, but we eat that too. And then finally, a last dish is sukano, and that is handmade dough rolled thin and filled with cheese or pumpkin. And my mom made it the other day because, you know, when fall season comes, she always makes this with pumpkin sukano. I forgot pumpkin in Macedonia, but I know they grow a lot of them in Macedonia. They grow pumpkins there, like, even during the summer, I believe. Like, it's crazy. I'll even talk about the weather a bit, but it gets really hot in the summer. I can imagine now, like, that was back then, too. But yeah, basically it's like a thin rolled dough, and it's like imagine I can't say an eclair. Like, imagine the dough of an eclair, but thinner. And it's just like, it's not even the shape of it. Well, it's kind of the shape of an eclair. You remove the chocolate, it's just the dough. You remove the filling and replace it with like a little pumpkin paste or cheese bits. And it's kind of like a Macedonian hot pocket. I can't explain. But you can have it cold too. You have it with like tea or coffee in the morning, or just as an afternoon midday snack, or I guess brunch, I don't know. Okay, so now we're going to go into a little bit of the culture. So you understand like the traditional life of Macedonia. So that's the foods we eat sometimes, you know, not all the time. Again, this is just 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 8 of many dishes. Many, there's thousands of dishes, obviously, but these are like a very popular dish. And when I say these things, kravče, tavče, I have sofeta cheese, sofeta sirene, pinjur, sarma, tahani, kori, baklava, lokum, sukano. I mean, everyone there will know what I'm saying. You're like, oh, can you say that again? Well, I can't say that. I do have a lot of Serbian viewers. I believe Croatian, and Greek, I believe, and Bulgarian recently, I've noticed. So, y'all know probably what I'm talking about. Ottoman Empire. Okay, the Ottoman Empire was what the Turks were ruling under for 450 years, okay? But they also not only ruled over Macedonia, which was much larger at the time, Bosnia, Montenegro, Serbia, Macedonia, Greece, and Bulgaria. They were ruling lot of influence from other countries and others from us. So, there's a holiday that is widely celebrated. It is the 2nd of August, which is Ilinden, Saint Ilinden. So they celebrate in Orthodox Christianity these saints as holidays. Okay, so this is one, Saint Ilinden, or Saint Ilia is the name, and it's the biggest holiday. Actually, it's a religious holiday, and it celebrates the independence of Macedonia, Macedonia, but we say Macedonia. All right, and obviously other popular ones are Christmas and Easter. Pretty much like everyone else, Christmas is called Božić, and it is on January 7th, believe it or not. Yes, we not only celebrate the Christmas, the American Christmas, December 25th, but we also, yes, we celebrate January 6th and 7th, because 6th is Christmas Eve for us. So, go into what we do during that time. Basically, you gather with your family during that time, and this is based on the old calendar. Okay, I forgot exactly what calendar it was called, but it's an Orthodox tradition. They had an old calendar. Even the New Year's is different. The New Year's is 13th through 14th of January. 13 is New Year's Eve, 14 is New Year's Day. We don't really celebrate that because that's like really old tradition, but that's why I keep the Christmas tree up every year until the 14th of January, because I just like to, tip my hat to our culture and tradition. And why not? I hate having Christmas only for a week. Why not have it for almost a month? Okay, so basically what you do is fasting, which I never really fasted. Like, I fasted in the sense where I'm like, I'm not gonna drink booze or alcohol for whatever time, but like fasting food, no, I can't. I'm sorry, no. I mean, they do no meat and fish only. No, thank you. I'll celebrate, but that's the point. What my limit is, okay? Alright, but I think it's only for like a few days. It's not that big of a deal. And obviously you're not like cutting off like no eating at all. You can obviously eat whatever you want. And not only that, but we also do this every year since we were like babies, I suppose. I mean, my family's been doing this all their life. Traditionally, you break a bread with a coin inside. So you put like a quarter in the bread, you mix it in the dough, and you cook it in the oven. And basically, whoever you spin the bread among each other's hands, however many people there are, and you break the bread. And if the coin lands in your bread, you're the one who has the luck for the year. This year, it was my brother. I have not had the coin drop on me probably since I opened this channel, but I feel like that was like an indicator, right, for me, like where my life was heading. So I'll leave it at that. But actually, it has been quite a good year in general that year too. But you're always eager for the coin to drop on you a year, because it always brings tears in your eyes, and it makes you feel good and happy. And then when you get the coin, you leave it, I think, under a pillow for the night. You sleep with it for the night. I think in Serbian tradition, you actually stick it on the ceiling over your bed, and you're supposed to wait for it to drop. And when it drops, because it sticks with the bread dough, like you leave some of the dough on the coin, it's supposed to stick. And when it drops, I think that's when your luck will be bestowed upon you, something like that. So after midnight of the 7th of January, you can finally eat meat. Alright, so on Easter, we celebrate, it's an Orthodox religious holiday in spring, and it is actually typically 1 to 2 weeks within the Catholic holiday Easter. So Americans usually celebrate the Easter. That's actually, most people don't know, but it's a Catholic Easter. So they're actually celebrating, most people, something that like just is a totally different tradition or religion, but most people know it as Easter, I guess, in this country. So that's that. so we celebrate usually 1 to 2 weeks after. So yeah, we celebrate, I suppose, our own. I don't think, no, we've never actually celebrated this one's Easter. Like, everyone's always like, Happy Easter, and I'm like, not yet. I guess that's why people always found me weird, but anyway, yeah, so majority is Orthodox Christians who celebrate that Easter, and it's usually on a Thursday through Friday night. You go to church, which we never really did. I mean, we haven't went to church in years. I just think it's just like something that if you want to celebrate like a traditional old holiday, you do that. Or, you know, nothing wrong with faith. I have faith, you know, I'm a person of faith now, but I never believed, you know, going to church like deemed you someone of faith. Like, it's not everything. Like, I used to call it like when I was younger with my family, but I never was faithful back then, so like it meant nothing to me. It was just like a place to feel peace. So basically there's like a table that's green and filled with flowers in the church, and the children are supposed to go under it and like hide under it, I guess, and that represents health. I don't know what that even means. And then after that, the people are supposed to circle the church 3 times with candles. So I remember doing that. I think a couple of times. I was like, oh, this feels like a little cultish. Like, yeah, we're gonna circle the church with candles. But actually, it was quite cool, and I think it makes you feel happy to do that with other people that you don't even know. It's like, it feels like familiar somehow. So that was cool. And then Sunday morning, you go to church again till noon, and then you eat lunch. Most people will be going there just to have that free food, okay? And if you want to leave a tip or donation, you can. Like, you know, they're not gonna harass you for it. But you know, it's once a year, so they cook the best meals. Like, ooh, really good food. Okay. But when you walk in, you know, I think the priest is called. They be singing, and then they're like, da 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 da, and then they talk in Macedonian. Some of the stuff I don't even understand because it's like old Macedonian they're talking. And then, you know, you have to do the cross. We cross like up, down, right, left, 3 times, and then you know, you repeat what they're saying, kind of like a pastor, a pope, or whatever. Like, you repeat what they say. I'm sorry, I'm not familiar with these names because it must be called something else. We say popot, but I don't think it's pope. I don't think we call him actually pope, but they say popot, or like I forgot. I wish I knew. But anyway, that's just some of the things that we celebrate here and there once in a blue moon, meaning these holidays. And it's obviously not just 3 of the holidays. There's more, but they're not widely celebrated, maybe even widely known. But there are a lot of little holidays here and there that people have off school, off work, just to celebrate and get together with friends and family and do. So yeah, but it's mostly family. Like, you don't really celebrate this stuff with like, everyone's just celebrating with their family, if I'm not mistaken. Basically, there are also minorities in Macedonia. It's not just Macedonians there. Obviously, it's also Albanians, Romas, Turks, and Vlachs, which I didn't even know what Romas and Vlachs were, to be honest. That's just what I was told. So I was like, okay. There's also Serbs, Bosnians, and some Jewish heritage as well, but very small minority there. Okay, so it's like its own Eastern European mixing pot, okay, over the years. And, you know, as people move and cultures assimilate and heritage mix and bond and people fall in love with people of different countries, naturally, the old, and it's kind of sad to say, but the old tradition dies down, and even the fact that the name was changed. So Yugoslavia, so a lot of people know Macedonia as Fyrom, which indicates former Yugoslavia Republic of Macedonia. Okay, but it's not called Fyrom, it's Macedonia, so, but that was just like its old name, I suppose, but now in 1991, it became independent and separated, so there you go. Which is interesting, that's when my brother was born, not that long ago, 30 years, wow. Didn't know that, but basically, Macedonia is in Eastern Europe, so we're considered Eastern European slash Mediterranean because it's near the Mediterranean Sea, not touching it, but near it, so still Mediterranean, very close vicinity. But when you describe us, we would be called Eastern European Mediterranean with a light Turkish influence. So that's basically summarizes who we are. Some people may be offended by that because they're like, why are you saying, Turkey? Well, okay, we can't deny the culture that was linked back hundreds and thousands of years ago. Okay. I don't think they have a kindergarten as they do here. Like, it was really weird for my family. They're like, what is this preschool, kindergarten? Like, I never went to preschool. I just straight up kindergarten 2 years and then whatever. But, yeah, they don't have kindergarten there, okay? You say that to them, they're gonna be like, what are you smoking? They have 1 through 9th grade. Like here we have, 4 years of elementary, 2nd through 5th grade, and then we have 3 years of middle school, 6th through 8th grade, then we have 4 years of high school, 9th through 12th grade. Nope, they can be like 1st through 9th, all in the same building. Yes, that's all elementary, middle school. Basic education is 1 through 9th grade. It's called Osnovno Shkolo. Osnovno Shkolo. And it's just like all in one school, basically. Basic education. Then high school is actually 10th through 13th. Okay, 10th through 13th grade is high school. But it makes sense that it's 13, not 12, because it's like the extra year is lacking in kindergarten. If anything, we have more grades. We have 1 preschool, 1 kindergarten, or 2 years of kindergarten. So people forget we actually have 14 years of school plus 4 in college. 18 unless you take another 8. Some people take 12 years based on their PhD program. So we be in school a lot of our lives, okay? And then there is 1 American college in Skopje, which Skopje is the capital of Macedonia, okay? I've been there, like Skopje, Kavalerci, Prilep, Štip, I don't know if I think Bitola, Ohrid, Nikotino, just like a really small town, Veles, what else? Kivkalia, I think. Kivkalia. Anyway, so Skopje is in North Macedonia. It's kind of like northwest, almost in central, but not really. And they have also private and state colleges as well. It used to not be, but now they do have not only state but private colleges as well. But yeah, it's cool. They have an American college in the capital, so it's recognized there. So it has an old history. Okay, the country in itself. It dates back. Okay. It was divided over several times in history, over the thousands of years of rule and empires falling and crumbling. In 1913, Macedonia was taken apart in several pieces by different nations: Bulgaria, Serbia, Albania, and Greece. Those 4. Okay, and like I said, it used to be a lot larger, and because of that taken apart, it's now much smaller. Okay, I'm surprised it's not gone. They don't take so much. So before the Ottoman Turkish Empire, it was ruled by the Roman Empire. So yeah, have you seen our battle helmet? goosebumps when I look at it. It is badass. It's like, it looks cool. Like, actually, I was gonna buy one, which you can online. It's really cool. I think you can go to Design Toscano and you'll see like old, I don't know if it's called Alexander the Great or whatever, but it's called like old Macedonian battle helmet or war helmet. I forgot what it's called, but oh my god, it looks cool. Okay, just saying. We've been fighting back when, okay? But there are also traditional folk songs that are still sung today. Not a lot of the older ones, but they still have, I've heard it. I'm not a fan of it, okay? I'm not a fan of folk music, especially older one, but they do play it, I believe, in church and stuff like that. So they also play instruments called the gaida, which is like bagpipes. It's an instrument, and they also play the kaval. Oh, now that I think about it, I kind of want to do a warrior role play with that helmet. Oh my god. I don't think you can wear it. It's just like a little statue thing. It probably hurt to put it on your head. The kaval is like you could also call it like a shupelka. That's what I'm familiar with, the name of shupelka, and that's recorder. You know those recorders we played in elementary school? We play Mary had a little lamb, yeah. That's the shupelka or the kaval. We also played the clarinet, which I played for 6 years. The violin, the mandolin, and tapani, which is just big drums. And I think violin, clarinet, and mandolin are all called clarinet, violina, e mandolina. So, yeah, tapani is like big drums. So those are some common instruments Macedonians play. So they also have traditional weddings in their houses. So they usually celebrate in their home, not like in some big dining hall or anything. I guess you could do that, but then they'd be like, well, you're probably not from around here, or you're just a tourist wanting to just celebrate your wedding here. Nothing wrong with that. But it typically be in a house. It used to actually be celebrated for 3 days. Honestly, Macedonians, I know this is about them. No offense, I love my own people, but any holiday, any excuse just not to go to work. I mean, let's be real, nobody want to be going to work anyway, alright? But let's be honest, like, I mean, that's amazing, right? 3 days wedding, like, I mean, how many drinks? Your poor liver, right? I mean, and we do drink and smoke a lot, okay? We do that, okay? Okay, I grew up around that all the time, like, and as a kid, a lot of secondhand, okay, a lot, okay. There are churches there from the 6th century that are still active. I've been to them. Oh my god, they are so gorgeous, and that old church smell is, you'll never forget it, okay? It's etched in your mind. And there are also monasteries, okay, churches and monasteries from that time period, 6th through 7th century. I'm telling you, we don't go way back. Heck, we go way back even before then. Obviously, the land was never removed, like invisible. It was always there. So could you imagine? I mean, even before the Roman Empire, I don't really know what was, but maybe nobody really even knows, to be honest, truly, because if you really date it back even before then, it must have been something more. It must have. Or just unclaimed territory in general. But they have beautiful lakes, so a bit about the geography, rivers, mountains. I've been there 5 times, so we've gotten over the years like a really familiar viewpoint of overall what the majority of the country looks like in the terrain. And I can tell you, I don't think it's like cerro, reka. Y planina is mountain, planina, okay? But it is the clearest lake. I believe it's the largest as well. Ohrid Lake was like huge. I mean, I went to also, my family there took me. I've had like aunts, uncles, niece, nephew, cousins there, and they all took us like over the months and years. I went with my brother or I went alone to go see places, and I'm so grateful that I had that time and that opportunity to spend with them. But it would always be sad to leave because they'd be crying, like they knew we wouldn't see each other for a long time. But I haven't been there in, oh my god, I'm really getting old now. I haven't been to Macedonia in 12 years. Jesus Christ. It's the clearest lake though in Macedonia, and they're known for rainbow trout, and it's a very good place to pick that fish. And even my uncle would be picking. I'd be picking out. No, I'm sorry. Okay, my aunt's father. Who would that be? I'm so slow. I'm so sorry. My aunt's father would pick out loads of fish with those fishing nets. Oh my god, it was in Kafadarci in the Thickfish Lake. Thickfish is there, which I love that lake. Oh my god, like you would get the best dark tan there. Just saying. Nowhere else like it. And Thickfish also is known for their booze, but I'll go into that soon. But yeah, I didn't know that rainbow trout's very cool. They have natural and man-made lakes as well, but the natural ones are phenomenal. Okay, actually Macedonia has very rich soil that can grow poppy flowers. They're one of the best places in the world for that, actually. Grapes, and they have tons of vineyards and wineries. My grandfather owns one. He took us to one, and really pretty. Oh my god, like rows and rows and rows, endless rows of grapes, and oh my god, just amazing. But they're very famous for the wine. Like they have the best, one of the world's best, like real wine. Like the grapes grow just perfect there when it's harvest season in September, and they take them. Like I'm gonna be honest, it's very strong alcohol. Like I'm not really a fan of it, but like I know it has that specific taste that people love, especially if they're a drinker. So, but it's not even about that. It's just like it's so valuable. It's so valuable, the grapes, and they're so precious in the way they grow, and it's just the perfect soil and temperature, and like just the right angle in the sun. I can't explain what it is about that land. But also for tobacco, I've even seen old ladies on the street rolling them. I'm like, okay, now, alright, you get that paper, apples, peaches, and apricots. I remember picking them from the trees there all the time and eating them just like that. You don't even have to wash them. You still do, but, you don't have to. There's no spraying pesticides and stuff like that. So good, the juiciest. Oh my god. And sometimes you'd find a worm in there and you'd freak out and scream. But that was like real organic stuff, right? And good quality cheeses from their goats, okay, which they often use to milk for the cheese. So, amazing country. Just like, if you can ever go, put it on your bucket list. You won't regret it. The people are so nice and friendly as well. I'll go into that soon. Hot, dry summers, and I mean, like, I would say equivalent to Arizona, probably. It feels like that, at least. Like, it would be like that, right? They don't even really go out much during the middle of the day in the midsummer because it'd be so scorching hot. But they have mild winters. Alright, so I'm not surprised the weather's like that because it's not that far from Africa. I mean, you'd have to pretty much cross the whole Greece and some water to get to Africa, but I'm talking in terms of the whole globe. It's really not that far if you think about it. So, to North Africa, so I'm not surprised the weather, like when it's like Florida, right? Like when you It's not like Greece where it's like touching the sea, right? So you don't get that humid air, okay? Which is why it's perfect for this type of food and harvest and stuff. They have hospitable, good-looking people. That was just my opinion. Y'all be gorgeous, okay? Y'all be hot, okay? Y'all be looking fine. My people look fine, okay? Like, they look fine, okay? Just saying. But they're social and friendly, okay? Very social, to the point where I was like actually very uncomfortable a lot of times, and they even said like the Americans that they've met, like they've noticed the same. We're kind of like alien to them because we really are maybe more shy or anxious when it comes to gathering. They like going to parties and clubs, and like they're always talking to someone. They're always calling someone, texting someone, or just hitting someone up, even if it's a work day. Like, they are literally always like that. So like it was to the point where like sometimes you just want a day off, and they're like, no, we're gonna go see my friend over here. I'm like, okay, like, so, but it's good, it's good. It's human nature. It's good to be social and gather, and I'm glad I had the experience, and it pushed me out of my comfort zone. I think had I not experienced that for almost a year of my life, I think I would be probably even more closed off than I was. I think it helped me open up to express myself, to speak myself, like my truth, and to learn the language more and to understand more words. And so it improved my diction and vocabulary, okay? So it was a wonderful experience, and to get to learn more about them and their culture as well, and what they like, and how different people on this planet are, because everywhere you go it's different. But then you also notice that everyone is pretty much the same, right? Okay, so the lakes, I believe, are Doiran, Prespansko Jezero, which Jezero is lake, or Prespa, they call it Prespansko, the Prespa lake, and also Vardar River. I remember seeing the Vardar River, and actually several parts of it, not just like the north end or the south end, wherever, it's beautiful to see like one end of a river and how far it is and how it can connect to another end. I mean, this planet is amazing, how it formed, and all that water is just sitting there, and it stretches out from kilometers and kilometers and miles. But the Vardar River is known because it links to the Aegean Sea. So, but that river, I believe it floods sometimes. It lowers and it floods, and I think that is what creates a fertile soil source, or it feeds into, like, if I'm not mistaken, some of the plumbing, okay? Because it's very interesting during certain parts of the country, maybe the whole country, I have no idea, but there's certain times of days where you can't water your flowers or wash even your face or shower or brush your teeth because the water will be stopped until a certain time. And so that's why a lot of times, I don't know now, maybe it's changed, I have no idea, but part of me feels like maybe not, because everyone's been trying to preserve water. Like if it's like that in California, it's probably still there, so because occasional droughts they get because it's so hot and dry during the summer. So heck, I would probably compare it to South California weather, like a hot South California, because of the wineries and stuff. So it makes sense, actually, now that I think about it, but minus being close to the water. But anyway, you get the point. It's just more like you have only that one river crossing through, so you're kind of depending on that. So they have to always preserve like huge, like they use all those like 2-liter bottles of like seltzer water or soda, and they drink it through, and they keep the bottles to fill actual water with during the night time, or when they turn on the water in the afternoon, and they leave it out on the balcony to get hot so that you can use that water to wash yourself. And I remember having to do that several times. Sometimes it's unpredictable well, they just shut your water, and you gotta just have that extra stockpile. That's why I learned to stockpile. Like, it goes way back, okay? Like, it's in my mentality to be like, you know what, you never know, you need this, you need that at home, right? So, and so it would suck when you'd have to run out, so you have to be like really, really rationing it sometimes. Like, you would just be scooping a little in your palm and just, I mean, you just gotta do what you gotta do, right? Like, even to brush your teeth. But it teaches you to be resourceful, to treat this planet with love and respect, because we all have a limit, you know. So, but that's that. But it was very interesting to go through that at the time. Alright, let's see here. So, the population is about 2 million people, okay? But honestly, it's probably 10 million, because so many people have moved away from the country, and, you know, given birth elsewhere. So I would say, like, as a total, it's probably close to, I would say, 10 million easily. But like, actual population in the country living there, having an address, is 2 million. So I can't say that. I'm not allowed to say that, you know. But I just like to exaggerate or imagine the number would be much larger if you consider everyone who left, because so many people actually left the country and are leaving. So, like, students, kids that just want to get out of there, honestly, get an education and move to another. I still have family who's like studying their degrees and their bachelor's or master's elsewhere, and they've moved to, like, what? I don't even know where they moved. Like Western Europe or Central Europe, or, you know, maybe America. Okay. But I do have a large family, so sometimes it's like hard to keep up. Like, what? I think only my mother really reaches out and talks to them to this day. So it's like, who's who, where's from, who, what happened, who got a new baby, and I'm like, oh my god, like, this family is huge. Like, I even forget the names. She's like, you remember her? And I'm like, no, wait, what? I don't know who she is, but wait, what? There is a lot of poverty, though, in the country, or I would say low income class, lower class families that live in Macedonia to this day, and that's why a lot of people are trying to get out to live a better life. It's not that it's not possible to live your best life there, it's just probably less likely than, per se, moving to a country like here. But at the same time, it's a mindset. I do believe it. So no matter where you move, if you have a certain particular mindset, you're always going to be struggling or thriving based upon that mindset. I do believe you can succeed anywhere else in the world. You can, but the chances are less there because there are not many jobs that are high pay, that are affordable to live on your own and just really live with a decent paycheck. So that's why a lot of people even go to, like, Greece for work. But even there, I heard it was hard now. A lot of them are like truck drivers, because that pays really good money. And although you're on the road all the time, you can definitely feed your family pretty cozy and cushy like that. So anything that is out of the country, going in and out, like export, that kind of stuff, I guess foreign trade would work well for people who don't want a traditional education, which is a very long process. And I can't say it'd be expensive, because in Europe it's mostly covered, I believe, under the government, if I'm not mistaken. Especially if you move to a different country, I think. But it is an affordable country for tourists. Yes, it really is. I mean, it's incredibly inexpensive. At the time, I still remember getting an ice cream for like 20 cents. I mean, it was amazing. I think you really only need like $300-400 a month to live there, and I'm talking like you can live alone and just nothing special, but you can still do it. But if you want to live good there, I'd probably say at least $1,000 a month, at least. Okay, so the towns and cities that are most known there, there's more than this, but these are the most known or larger ones, are Bitola, most of my family's there. Štip, 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 Kumanovo, 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 Tetovo, 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 Kostivar, 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 Kruševo, 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 Ohrid, 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 Struga, 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 Kevkelia, 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 and Strumica, Strumica, Strumica. Alright. Okay, one more page. So, Strumica is actually quite known for its tomatoes, peppers, cucumbers, and vegetable agriculture. I was going to go into more detail about different towns and cities. I don't know why I only wrote that one, but I guess that's important because you need food to eat to survive this world. So that's what that town is for and how important it is. It's like its own connection. Like the whole country is kind of similar to the shape of like Iceland, right? It's kind of like round, and all the towns and cities are kind of like all in a circle linked together, and so it's like its own network, I would say, of just like, this food is from here, oh, this is where they do the factories, oh, this is where they do the schools, this is where they do the grapes and wine, whatever, so it's all like feeding in itself, and I think that's why it's so valuable and so many countries wanted to take from it. Shady countries, but the lakes are popular for tourists, so they're great for tourism because they're just amazing. I mean, I'll be honest, Ohrid Lake is frigid, like it's so cold. I don't know who would want to just swim in there, but people still do. The Thickfish Lake is much better for swimming because it's actually pretty warm, so in the summer. Now the Thickfish region is great for wineries and brandy, and that's in Kavalerci, okay, the town Kavalerci, and they're exported all over Europe and the world. If you go to any like European market, like you're probably gonna find Thickfish booze there. It's in like big red letters, Thickfish, Tikves, and they usually have a picture of like a man with like a facial hair in the front. Looks like a Turkish man with like a red hat. I think that's that. Skopje, the capital of Macedonia, has the oh my gosh, I don't know what this says, I'm sorry. Math Center of Buildings. What? Oh, main center of buildings. So yeah, obviously it's the capital, so it's like just like a bigger city that has, like I said, schools and buildings for work and all that, just like any other capital city would. There's also open market, like farmers markets. Okay, they're pretty cool. Alright, they're pretty big as well. They sell produce about 2 to 3 times per week there, all natural, organic, just like fresh. Good food in general, okay, that you can buy in bulk. And the final point I made is that Macedonia has a lot of German and Swedish tourists, and even tourists from Holland, okay, Holland, Germany and Sweden, tourists coming that's just like an expression to say like all the Western culture is now being included in the East. So when you link those integrations together, it's frequently called Americanized because South America and North America are America, right? Like it's like the West of the world, so the Western world. So I would say that that's why it's frequently mentioned as that. And so I don't think they have to struggle or suffer like people did there 50 plus years ago. So I can't say that it's any different nowadays than living here, but it still has their challenges and limitations, and so based on everything I told you about Macedonia, you can only imagine what it must be like to live there. So that's why